Okay, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about squares. First, I'm going to start talking about perimeters, and then I'm going to talk about area of squares. So first, let's think about perimeter of a square. Now, one thing with the perimeter of a square, there are kind of two different approaches for it. Perimeter could be, okay, since squares all have the same sides, you could say S plus S plus S plus S, or since all the sides are the same, you could just take it and can say 4 times S. Now, I'm just demonstrating, number one, that all of the sides are the same. So that means I've got 4 different 5s. So it depends on which formula you want to use. So some of us may just say, okay, 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals, it's 20, and since they're all in feet, it's going to be 20 feet because perimeter is always the same unit. Now, you can also say perimeter equals 4 times 5, which is also 20. So both your methods will give you the same answer. Now, as we're continuing to move along with this lesson, you can always pause it and go back and continue to go back and forth until you grasp the concept. Okay? I've got a square of 10 inches. I can say perimeter equals, you could say 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. And if you add those up, you should get 40. And since the unit is in inches, that is what the perimeter is going to be. It's going to be 40 inches. Now, some of us may just say, okay, it's 10 inches. We got 4 sides, so it's 4 times 10, which comes out to be also 40 inches. And number 3, I'm just going to demonstrate that this is a square, even though it doesn't look like a square. It is a square. So in this case, you could say perimeter equals, let's do the 7. There's 4 of them, so I could say 4 times 7, which is 28. And your unit is M, which is a meter. Or you can just add all the 7s up. You got 4 of them, so 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 also gives you 28, and the unit is meters. Number 4 is the same way. I could say 4 times 20, which is 80, and it's in centimeters. Or you can just add up the 20s. You got 4 of them. And notice both of them come up to be 80. Now, what about if I give you the perimeter is 8 feet? Well, so if the perimeter is 8 feet and all sides are the same, that means I've divided by 4. So that means each side has to be 2 feet. Now, to check your answer, if you want to check and see if you are correct, you can just say, okay, if I've got my sides are 2, and I've got 4 sides, 2 times 4 gives me that 8, which is in the middle. That's how you can check your work. The last one, I've got 20. So 20, I'm looking at the same way. I got 20, I got 4 the same side, so 4 goes into 20 how many times? 5. So the side would be, each side would be 5 feet. You can add all 5s up to get 20, or you can also check your work by saying 4 times 5 gives me that 20 feet, which is my perimeter. Now, I'm going to do the same thing now like what I did before in my first lecture on with rectangles, is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the area. So the area of a square is just side times side, or side squared. So on my first one, I'm going to just say, okay, 5 times 5, which is 25. And area is always squared because I've got 2 feet that I'm multiplying, so it'll be feet squared. Now, if I've got my side of a square to be 10, I'm just going to say 10 times 10, which is 100, and it's going to be inches squared. Or you could say area equals 10 squared, which is also 100. Remember, at any point of this video, you can continue to pause and rewind or play it back and see if things are unclear. Okay. Number 3, I've got 7 meters is my side. Use a different color. So let's say in this case, area equals 7 times 7, which 7 times 7 is 49. And since I've got 2 meters, it's going to be meters squared. Now this is also a square, so I'm going to say area equals, this time it's 20 times 20. This is going to be a bigger number. So 20 times 20 is 400, and my unit's going to be centimeters squared. Now, instead of perimeter right here, I'm going to change this to area. So it's going to be area equals and I'm going to change the 8 feet. I'm going to do the 8 feet. I'm going to change that as well. So let's say area equals, say, 25 meters squared. So that means I'm asking what would the sides be? Well, 25 is a perfect square. So it's like saying 25 equals side times side. So what times what is 25? So in this case, the side has to be 5 meters because 5 times 5 is 25. In my last one, I'm going to use the same way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change my perimeter. So I'm going to make that area equals, say, 81 feet squared. So in this case, I know I've got 81 equals side times side. So What two numbers can you multiply to get 81? Well, in this case, the side has to be 9 and the unit is feet. So now this concludes my lesson on squares for perimeter and area. In the next video I'm going to talk about will be triangles. Thank you for listening.